Call the council meeting to order tonight. We'll take the roll.
Council members Anderson.
Here.
Benega.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Costello. Here. Jameson.
Here.
Knudsen. Litz.
Here.
Staggers.
Present.
We have a quorum present for tonight's meeting, and we'll be led tonight in the invocation by Pastor Laura Borman from Wesley United Methodist Church here in Sioux Falls. After the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. So at this time, I ask everyone to please rise.
Let us pray. Oh God, we thank you for this creation that you have given us dominion over. We thank you for these public servants who has chosen to work to make life better. Remind them, O God, that it is others above self. Remind them, O God, that the least may need a lot of help. Remind them, O God, that the decisions they make do impact many. We thank you for this day. We thank you for the sunshine, for the warm weather, for the hope that we have that we might serve you better, more fully tomorrow. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Let's
move. Is there a second?
Second. Anderson.
Anderson seconded. Further comments? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knudsen.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. The consent agenda has been approved. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So moved. Benega.
Benega moves. Is there a second?
Second. Anderson.
Anderson seconded. Further motions for the comments? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the regular agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
All members present voted. The regular agenda has been approved 7 yes, 1 excused. This is the time we set aside for public input, and what we just ask is to give your name and your address, and we ask you to come and respect the 5-minute rule. So please come forward, give your name and address, please.
Scott L. Arisman, 806 South 10th Avenue. I have a number of things I want to talk about. After watching the CIP hearings and budget hearings, kind of collectively try to take a bunch of stuff in. First, I want to talk about the easement program. I think that it's a good program to have, but I don't think it should be a handout. I think it should be a low-interest loan or a no-interest loan, similar to a community development thing. I received a community development loan, and I think it was very beneficial, but I don't think that we should give handouts with taxpayers' money. A good example of this is from the Board of Historic Preservation, dated February 14th, 2007. They gave 2 easements out for a total of $77,000. One of them was to Dave Dander of the Boyce Greeley building, which houses basically a furniture store and a clothing store, and he's going to have some condos. And the other one was to Tim Cant. Of course, it doesn't say the name of the building. It's for $34,000, but I'm assuming it's the building he owns, that houses a bar and a tobacco shop. Now, I don't believe what kind of message it sends to be giving money to someone who peddles tobacco and alcohol. And I know that they have to go through a process, an application process, but I think the application should very much state that they can't be selling alcohol or tobacco. You know, we had a proclamation here in front of the council a few weeks back. It was National Anti-Cigarette Litter Month downtown. And we give taxpayers money to a guy who sells tobacco and liquor. I don't know what kind of message that sends, but I don't think it's a very good message. Second thing I want to bring up is this $750,000 bridge. Pedestrian bridges are needed. There's no doubt about it. But when you have a bridge on 6th Street and a bridge on 8th Street that have sidewalks that people can use, And then the location of this bridge goes from nowhere to nowhere. There's nothing on either side of this bridge, when you can walk a half a block either way and go across the thing. I don't know how this got concocted. I have not talked to a single citizen who said that this is a good way to use taxpayers' money. Not a single one. Some people said, we could fix up the railroad bridge. Some people said, let's not put a bridge up at all. But $750,000 for a bridge that goes from nowhere to nowhere. That's how we spend money. Kind of reminds me of that guy at Ted Stevens in Alaska. The bridge to nowhere. Now look what he's in trouble for, federal indictments for bribery. Pretty interesting. Next thing I want to talk about is the retail tax increase. I think there's other ways to raise money for roads. For one, you could make huge cuts in the budget, $750,000. That'd be a nice cut. But to raise tax on food to pay for roads, when not everybody who buys food uses the roads. I think a good way to raise the money is through a wheel tax. Some cities do a wheel tax. Some cities raise the registration fees. There's other ways. You should be taxing automobiles for the roads, not groceries. It's backwards. I don't think the retail tax should be increased, and that's another thing I have not heard a single person approve of, to raise taxes. Everyone has told me, cut the money, spend it on roads. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, I noticed during the meetings, Councilor Costello wanted to make a cut to the Parks Board, and I actually emailed him about it. I ride my bike to work every day on the bike trail during the week. And the park system is great. There's no doubt about it. But it's over-manicured. I will see a lawnmower going and cutting an inch of grass. And I just don't understand. If they can't cut $100,000, they could cut $100,000 from their budget easily. Usually there's two people doing the same job. All the vehicles are brand new. I don't think I've ever seen a lawnmower that was over 5 years old. Lawnmowers last forever if you take care of them. I mean, it's just a lawnmower. And I just think that I've thought the parks budget's been bloated for a long time. But Pat brought it up, and I emailed him and said, there's no doubt about it. And, ride your bike to work every day and watch.
5 minutes, Scott.
But I have some more stuff I got to go over.
5 minutes.
What is is that in the city ordinance? We can only talk for...
We ask people to hold it to 5 minutes, and that's what we're doing. And we'd ask you to be respectful of the council's time, and we'd ask you to adhere to that.
Well, I think we've talked about the First Amendment before here. I think I've come up and talked about that before. But I will close. That's fine. I'll be respectful. But I want you to remember the First Amendment. We have a right to be here and talk.
Others that wish to address the council for a period of 5 minutes, name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Sister Gabriella Crowley, and I'm from Sioux Falls. I've been here 11 years, and those 11 years I have worked with the poor in the area. The people I work with, have worked with, are low-salaried people. And I like to speak for them as voiceless people, because they often are not the ones who can get their message out. And the reason I wanted to speak tonight is against the raise of the taxes. I'm concerned because the people I see can hardly afford housing. There's some kind of an unwritten law here that depending on the family size, they have to have so many bedrooms. And when these people are on low salary, they can hardly afford an apartment. Much of the deposit now is equal to the first month rent. And last week, the office I work, we had 4 new families move into Sioux Falls. from out of town because where they came from, other states, there is no work. They will be taking the low-income jobs. The lines at the food pantry now are growing. One of our office people was up at one of the food pantries the other day, and there were lines of people. And this particular food pantry now goes and shops every day because the shelves are empty. These people who use the food pantry and are looking for housing are working people. They're the low-income working class. And to us, another little bit of an increase of the tax probably doesn't mean anything. But because of my experience working with these people, I can see that every little bit affects them. The other day, a woman came, found some clothing at a thrift shop for her children, but couldn't find any for herself. So people who are very large or very little, often they can't even find clothing in the thrift stores. And for us, we can go to any store and buy what we want. Another thing is insurance. Many of the people don't have insurance on their health, and so there's a free clinic in town which covers some of it, but if they need extra x-rays and things, they have to pay that out of their own pocket. So there are a lot of hidden costs, and just a little bit more increase all the time regularly on the increase of the tax affects these people. So, and many of them aren't making it. And we're not aware of that because we don't see these people. They're the hidden people of our city. So I'm just here to speak on behalf of them, and I thank you.
Thank you very much. Others that wish to address the council for 5 minutes, name and address, please. And thank you all for coming up. Seeing no one coming forward, let's move into the regular agenda. Item number 1.
New 2008 retail wine license for Royal Palace Incorporated, Royal Palace, to be operated at 5015 South Louise Avenue with a special use permit approved on 7/2/08, pending final inspections for fire, health, and building services. Item 2, new 2008-09 retail malt beverage licenses for Royal Palace Incorporated, Royal Palace, to be operated at 5015 South Louise Avenue with a special use permit approved on 7/2/08, pending final inspections for fire, health, and building services. Item 3, new 2008 packaged liquor license for Laverne Supermarket Incorporated, Sunshine Foods, to be operated at 3809 East 10th Street. Item 4, rescind 2008-09 packaged malt beverage license for Laverne Supermarket Incorporated, Sunshine Foods, 3809 East 10th Street. Number 5, new 2008 packaged liquor license for Hy-Vee Food Stores Incorporated, Hy-Vee Food Store Number 1, to be operated at 1601 South Sycamore Avenue. Item 6, new 2008 packaged liquor license for Hy-Vee Food Stores Incorporated, Hy-Vee Food Store Number 4, to be operated at 1900 South Marion Road. Number 7, new 2008 packaged liquor license for Hy-Vee Food Stores Incorporated, Hy-Vee Food Store Number 5, to be operated at 3020 East 10th Street. Item 8, new 2008-09 packaged malt beverage license for Hy-Vee Incorporated, Hy-Vee Gas Number 2, to be operated at 4103 South Louise Avenue. Item 9, special one-day liquor license request for Washington Pavilion Management Incorporated, Washington Pavilion of Arts and Science, 301 South Main Avenue, for the following dates, events in 2008. September 12th for a banquet dinner, September 13th for a wedding reception, September 20th for the SDSO opening night, October 11th and 18th for wedding receptions, and November 1st for the SDSO gala.
Thank you, Denise. Lori Hogsted with the City Finance Office, here for items 1 through 9. Just to point out, items 3 through 7 are reflective of a recent change in the state law, which allows certain licensees to have more than 3 packaged liquor licenses. Those that qualify are those that would have less than 50% of their gross receipts from the sale of liquor. And that would be for first-class municipalities, and that would explain items 3 through 7. And then item 8 for Hy-Vee is a separate item for their gas that's going to be opening on Louise, 49th and Louise. I can answer questions on 1 through 9.
Questions of Lori on 1 through 9? Others that wish to address the council on items 1 through 9, any item?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Bennigan moves. Is there a second?
Knutson seconds the motion.
Knutson seconds it. Further comments on the motion to approve items 1 through 9? Seeing none, all in favor of approving items 1 through 9 will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Items 1 through 9 has been approved 8-0. Item 10.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by adopting the 2008 National Electrical Code and amendments thereto.
Good evening, Ron Bell with Building Services. This proposes to adopt the 2008 edition of the National Electrical Code. National Electrical Code is promulgated by the National Fire Protection Agency. There's a 3-year code change cycle. The electrical code oversees all facets of electrical systems and has the most technological advances in electrical systems within a code. The State Electrical Commission has adopted the 2008 National Electrical Code and has made it applicable for anything issued after August 1st. City of Sioux Falls is simply following through with the same like amendments with a few other amendments that we have with our local criteria. Any questions?
Questions of Ron? Go ahead.
Yeah, Ron. In the past, when we've dealt with these kind of issues here, these national codes, it doesn't seem like there's ever been any cost-benefit analysis. Is there any cost-benefit analysis on this?
I couldn't quote you a cost-benefit analysis. I can tell you that every time that there's a code change at a national annual business meeting, that every code change has a criteria as to whether it costs more, or if there's any cost at all with the code change. So those people that are voting for those code changes are aware of a cost factor when they're making those decisions.
And I think many of those people that deal with this are involved, like in this particular case, electricians and so forth. And so, sometimes you have to be concerned they're voting their own interests, not just safety, even though that many times, of course, there are safety issues, but not necessarily all the time either.
This is a national code consensus process. The 20 different committees that make up the changes to the National Electrical Code are not just electricians. They're people from all facets of the industry. Anybody can make a code change. Anybody can make a code change. Anybody can debate those code changes.
Yeah, but they have the most influence because they're the experts on this.
Well, the people that are on the committees are the ones that are making the code changes. Then with the ICC process, there's a second process where anybody can challenge a code change and goes through a complete separate hearing where the building officials are actually approving or disapproving what the committees do. It's a national
I can understand. It's a very elaborate process and so forth. I mean, I don't deny that. But you mentioned the last time we talked about this special provision they want to have now for, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what it was going to cost. What, $500 extra per house?
Arc faults. Arc fault circuit interrupters.
Yeah.
Arc fault circuit interrupters has been in the code since 1999, but only applicable for a bedroom circuit. This code follows through to expand the use of arc fault circuit interrupters for those circuits, in addition to bedrooms, those circuits that aren't otherwise protected by a ground fault circuit interrupter.
And so this is going to add approximately $500 to a new house? Is that about right?
Could be, yes.
Okay, that's just one example. Are there other examples where this is going to add further costs to new housing here in Sioux Falls?
Well, these are the changes. There's about 400 of them in there that the State Electrical Commission and our inspectors have went over with the electricians. I can't tell you that there is a cost basis analysis on every one of those changes. As far as single-family dwellings, there's another minor one that now requires tamper-resistant receptacles to be installed for new construction. That's to accommodate the electrical shocks of children, putting paper clips or whatever into receptacles.
Yeah. Parents. I was just going to say parents can also take care of that too themselves. not too much problem.
Further questions? Others that wish to address the council? Okay, Bob.
I would, Ron, I've watched this thing for a couple of years now, and I'm going to vote in favor of it, but I do have to say I do share Kermit's concerns. Every time we do this, we add a couple $100, $300 more to the cost of a house, and I know how it happens. I know it seems to be inevitable, but I just have to say that. We keep doing it, and I don't know where it's all going to lead, but...
If I could make a comment, and that is, if you take a look at the local amendments that we do on our codes, and when we do work with the residential code, we work very closely with the local home builders association. And we have probably 20 to 30 local amendments in there. And if you take a look at those local amendments, typically those local amendments are on the affordability side, not the life safety side. So we do have that ability to, and there are provisions in our ordinances where we are creating much less cost than people realize. For instance, sprinklers in multifamily housing. The 2006 code requires sprinklers in any Group R occupancy and a commercial occupancy. We have not required sprinklers to that degree going back all the way to the 1990s, where we now require sprinklers for 3-story buildings and 16 units. Much more liberal than what the code would otherwise require. So there are provisions in our code where we do deal with affordability.
I'm aware of that, Ron. I follow these things, as you well know, but I just want to state the case there, state the obvious, I guess. That I know, and I do know, like the energy codes and some other things like that. That we have taken action in the past that has decreased the cost of housing, sure. And I appreciate that. But I just wanted to state the obvious.
Further questions? Others that wish to address the council, item number 10? Not, is there a motion to approve?
I
Move to approve. Brown.
I
moves.
second the motion.
Knutson seconds. Further comments on that motion?
Mr. Mayor, just one comment. Ron, maybe you need to start bringing the fire chief with you to talk about the other cost analysis of lives lost without doing some of the changes that you've seen in these codes over your time in this position.
Well, I have a feeling with the next international residential code, we may be bringing it, because what is going to be on the docket is a proposal, 6 different ways to require sprinklers in 1- and 2-family dwellings that we will be voting on this fall in Minneapolis.
Because if I can just add a comment here, too, that, we're talking about new housing here, and the overwhelming majority of housing in Sioux Falls won't even be covered by this. So, if it's truly a very serious safety problem, of course, then we would require all housing in Sioux Falls to have this, but it's not.
There's an appendices in the residential code that allows us to do that. We've never brought this to this council.
Right. Yeah.
So it hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
Got a motion been made and seconded to approve item number 10. Further comments?
Well, I guess one of the most serious issues involved with this is that there's no cost-benefit analysis. And it's kind of scary when we don't really know how much this is going to fully cost home builders and buyers of new homes here in Sioux Falls. We know here with these arc faults that it's going to cost maybe around $500 additional cost for housing. But as Ron mentioned, hey, there's a lot of other changes involved too, and we have no idea how much this is going to cost.
Further comments? Got a motion made, seconded. All in favor of that motion, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
All members present have voted, 7 yes, 1 no. Item 10 has been approved. Item 11.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city to eliminate references to the Assistant Director of Building Services, to allow a platted property line in unlimited area buildings, to eliminate the requirement for areas of rescue assistance in sprinklered buildings, to modify the required number of toilet fixtures in indoor and outdoor sporting event facilities, and to make certain modifications to the residential building, mechanical and fuel gas, existing building, property maintenance, residential building contractors, vacant buildings, rental registration, electrical and plumbing ordinances.
For lack of a better term, this is a mid-cycle cleanup of Chapter 11, Chapter 15, 23, and 33 that deals with building services regulations concerning all the codes that are out there. One of the first ones that we're dealing with is that during a reorganization of our department, the position of Assistant Director of Building Services was eliminated, and that had ramifications of ordinances throughout Chapter 11, 23, 33, and 15. What has happened is because that job position is no longer there, this ordinance proposes to eliminate any reference to the Assistant Director of Building Services and shift those duties to the Chief Building Services official. Second one, there's about 2 or 3 of these that have went through our Board of Appeals during the last year, where the board actually made a decision that created a precedent that really deserved an amendment to the code. This one here is with Dolly Farm Village facilities. Matter of fact, we're going to be meeting with the architects tomorrow on the Target Superstore for building permit issuance. On these large box buildings, the buildings are typically built in what's called unlimited area buildings, which means that it can't be more than 2 stories, it's got to be a certain occupancy, it's got to have fire access all the way around, and with all of that, you don't have to typically go to a very high type of construction for this size of a building. Well, what's happened with the Target store is that they have adamantly wanted to put a property line and have separate ownership of their facility, which threw out the unlimited area provisions altogether. This went to the Board of Appeals with a code change that is applicable in the state of Minnesota. Our Board of Appeals accepted it, and so therefore we're proposing this as a local amendment to be put into the code where we run into this type of a situation again.
Questions of Ron on item number 11?
Yeah, last time we talked about this, we mentioned about the toilet fixtures, you know. That
I'll get to it.
Oh, you can, okay. I've been waiting for...
I'm sorry. The next one is required areas of rescue assistance, the 2006 code.
Can I ask a question regarding the last one? Okay, so that change, is that applicable to both large retailers and small retailers, or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Large retails, large factories, mercantiles, offices, and warehouses. This is all applicable to.
Okay.
Matter of fact, Hutchinson Technology, they were looking at a huge addition a couple of years back, and they would have requested using this same ordinance. So if they ever come back, this will be applicable for them. The next one is areas rescue assistance. The 2006 code mandated distance sprinkler buildings, which is above and beyond ADA. During the code change process last time, which goes into 2009, they completely reversed it. So we were ready to start requiring areas of rescue assistance in buildings all over the city, and found that the codes in actuality will take it away. So we're doing a local amendment to match what will be in the 2009 building code. And this is significant cost savings. You're talking about large numbers of buildings where I just simply used modifications not to require this, knowing that the code is going to change. Another one is dealing with a Board of Appeals with the amount of toilet fixtures within stadiums. This code provision has a much more restrictive number for toilet facilities in stadiums up to 2,500 people. Once you're over the 2,500 people, the ratio changes, which doesn't make much sense. So we took this to the board. The board simply scratched out what nearly was turned into a code change but didn't quite make it at the national consensus process. Other than that, there is a large amount of cleanup in this ordinance to get it back to standards.
When it comes to toilet fixtures in the indoor and outdoor sporting events facilities, is there a requirement to have more women's facilities?
Sure is.
Okay. And what is the requirement then?
If you take a look at it, the ratio is 1 per 120 for men and 1 per 60 for women, so practically double the amount.
Also, the rental registration, what's changed there?
I believe the rental registration would have referenced the Assistant Director of Building Services to Chief Building Official. Clean up on that.
Other questions of Ron on item number 11? Others that wish to address the council on item number 11? Not. Is there council discussion or motion?
So moved. Move to approve. Let's
moved. Is there a second?
Second, Benninga.
Benninga seconds. Further comments on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving item 11, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Item 11 has been approved. Item 12.
Second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by revising Chapter 5, alcoholic beverages, by replacing light wine with wine retailers in conformance with state law.
Thank you, Denise. Lori Hogstead with the City Finance Office. The ordinance amendments before you incorporate changes that were made in the 2008 legislative session, with the exception of Senate Bill 126, which is the retail liquor license issue. That will come before you in 2 or 3 months or so. The other changes that are incorporated, I'll just briefly go over the three. Basically, there's three. House Bill 1269. This allows for an applicant to have both a packaged off-sale malt beverage, which is beer, license, and also a South Dakota Farm Wineries license. The fee for this is $175, and prior to this, if they wanted to sell beer and sell wine, they would have to purchase a packaged liquor, and that was $500. So this will allow businesses that choose to just to sell the packaged malt beverage to go, and then also to sell the South Dakota Farm Winery wines. And I think we'll have quite a few applicants interested in that. The other change is House Bill 1126, and this makes changes to the on-sale wine license, the retail wine license. A few things. First of all, it's now an on- and off-sale license, so that you can go into a restaurant and order a glass of wine. You can also buy a bottle of wine to go, if the restaurant chooses to do so. And our beer license is currently set up that way, although many businesses don't sell beer to go, but they could if they chose to. The second thing is the hours. The hours used to be 12 noon to midnight. They now are going to be 7 a.m. to 2 a.m., which is the same as the retail beer and the retail liquor. And then thirdly, there used to be a restriction that in order to have retail wine, you had to be a restaurant with seating for at least 50 people and the ability to serve 50 people at one and the same time. This takes away the restaurant requirement. We may be seeing more businesses come forth for this wine license now that we're taking the restaurant restrictions off. And then the third one is House Bill 1118, and this creates a temporary package off-sale wine license. And right now we have temporary one-day beer, one-day wine, and one-day liquor. Well, this will allow an off-sale wine license that can be issued to either a fair board or to a civic, charitable, educational, or fraternal organization in conjunction with a special event. In other words, just for an example, Taste of South Dakota possibly may want to come in and apply for the license and be able to sell South Dakota wines at their event. So those are the basic changes, and once these are incorporated into the ordinance, they will. Some of these will really be helpful to some of my customers. So, any questions, I can answer those.
Questions of Lori on item number 12.
Ms. Huckstead, I don't have any questions, but I just always am impressed with your presentations. You just take an area that's kind of complicated, and you just make it so clear-cut, and you just always do such a nice job in front of us.
Thank you. Toastmasters, see?
I was thinking of Toastmasters.
Yes.
I
must push that.
Further questions? Others that wish to address the council on item number 12? Is there a motion?
Move to approve, Benega.
Benega moves to approve. Is there a second?
Let's
seconded. Further comments on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve item 12, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
All members present vote. Item 12 has been approved 8-0. Item 13.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city for parking reductions.
Good evening, Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. This item pertains to a change in our zoning ordinance that we are requesting to be considered. Since 1983, there has been a provision in our zoning ordinance that allows a reduction in required parking through the contribution of money to the parking system. or by buying a 10-year bus pass. And the history shows us that we've had 0 examples of where those have been implemented. So in talking to Randy Bartunik and also to our zoning staff, as well as the transit people, we thought that we would come back and make some modifications to this because we still are encouraging people to use our public transit system as a way of decreasing required parking. And this amendment would eliminate the one-time payment option to the parking system, but instead of a 10-year bus pass, it would allow people to come in on a year-to-year basis and buy monthly passes that would allow them to also reduce parking requirements. So we feel that this might be able to make it easier for people that would want to take advantage of that don't feel that they need to have as much required parking within their development area.
Questions of Mike on item number 13.
Yeah, Mike, I guess I'm a little bit concerned here that we have a conflict of interest here where the city is going to be possibly benefiting from this monetarily. So, it's kind of like, okay, we're not going to have you have as many parking places, but in return, you're going to be purchasing these bus passes and the city benefits monetarily.
Well, I think the community benefits by reducing the traffic on the streets, and the developer benefits by not having to build as many parking stalls. So I'm not sure why that would be a negative impact on anybody.
Well, I'm just saying that this has the appearance of a conflict of interest because, once again, the city is going to be possibly benefiting monetarily from this.
I don't
Now,
follow
if you
that.
didn't have an interest in this, the city didn't have an interest, that's different. But the city is very much involved in this.
I guess I don't follow that logic very well.
That the logic is that you have a situation here where you're telling businesses, hey, what you can do is you can have less parking places. But to have less parking places, you're going to have to pay the city some money here in buying some bus passes. That seems like a conflict of interest.
I don't really have a response to that.
Other questions? Not others who wish to address council item 13. Not, is there a motion to, wait, we don't need it, just go to 14.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a major amendment, petition number 2008-0704 to Chapter 15.45.070, Planned Development Districts at 5108 Southwestern Avenue, allowing changes in land use as reflected in the revised sub-area regulations and amending the Western Avenue and Ralph Rogers Road Planned Development District sub-area regulations. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is located on the east side of Western Avenue, north of Ralph Rogers Road. When the developer originally came in requesting this to be zoned office, there was a provision that personal services would not be allowed. And now the owner is asking us to amend that zoning by adding the hair salon and day spa uses into their zoning regulations, which would be considered personal services.
Questions of Mike on item number 14. Go ahead, Greg.
What's the reason for not having the personal services? I mean, is there traffic concerns?
I think that was, again, that was a request initially brought by the developer. I don't know if there were concerns from surrounding neighbors that there might be uses that would be detrimental to the neighborhood.
Pat?
If I recall, Mike, I think the neighbors to the east were very concerned about the types of buildings that would be built there. Either case, I would imagine they would have been notified of those meetings.
Right.
Further questions of Mike on item 14, Ken?
Mike, I see a couple, can you go back to the last photo, please? Okay, you have a building across the street and one on the corner. Do we know what type of businesses those are sitting there?
Yeah, those are office uses.
Just office
Yes.
buildings?
Mm-hmm. And those would be allowed to have these same types of personal services.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Let's go to 15.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 73rd Street and South Cliff Avenue from the RS2 Residential District to the Diamond Village Planned Development District, petition number 2008-0705, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is about a 10-acre parcel of land that's west of Cliff Avenue, and it's part of the Diamond Valley Development, Diamond Village Planned Development District. And the original layout showed residential that would be single-family and twin homes on this site. To the east of it, we've approved the development of up to 8-unit buildings, and they would like to amend this parcel as well to allow the option of going up to 8-unit buildings. There seems to be a market in this area for some higher density residential uses that the developer would like to construct.
Questions of Mike on item 15? Seeing none, and let's go back. Is there a motion to set the hearing date for September 2nd for items 13 through 15?
So moved, Benega.
Benega moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Let's second it. Further comments? All in favor, set the hearing date for September 2nd for items 13 through 15. Will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
All members present have voted. The hearing date has been set for September 2nd for items 13 through 15. Let's go to 16.
A resolution appointing members of the Districting Commission.
Mayor and City Council, this resolution is to appoint 4 members to the Districting Commission as Section 6.02 of the City Charter recommends that when their population has risen 15% from the last redistricting, that the council would appoint 4 members, and then once you adopt this resolution, they will appoint their 5th member, which will be their chair. The members of the commission as appointed by being proposed to be appointed by the council are Roger Berggren, Democrat; Elaine Roberts, Democrat; Vance Goldammer, Republican; and Joel Rosenthal, Republican. Thank you.
Further comments? Others wish to address council on item number 16? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Anderson.
Anderson moves. Seconded.
Second, Jameson.
Jameson seconds. Further comments on the motion been made and seconded?
I just have a question. When would they start meeting, and when would they put forth a plan? Do we know yet?
Well, we're working with them now. Once you've appointed them, then we'll begin to get together and with Jeff Schmidt, also from planning, and then we'll probably it usually takes about to a year in the past if we look at what past districting commissions have done. I couldn't give you an estimate now, but I know they'd like to finish and be well done ahead of the 2010 election.
Further comments? We've got a motion made and seconded. All in favor of that motion, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
All members present have voted. That motion has been approved. Item 17.
A resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Bill O'Toole effective October 20th, 2008.
Mayor Hanson. I am so sorry.
Been here a while?
I'm standing up here reflecting on my career.
Going for early retirement?
But yeah, I guess I'm done tomorrow, huh, Mayor? Mayor Munson has appointed Bill O'Toole as Human Resource Director effective October 20th, and he is asking for your advice and consent.
Questions on that? Others who wish to address the council on item 17?
I move for approval of item number 17.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Benega.
Benega seconded. Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
All members present have voted.
One last hope, Paul, before I leave.
18.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls approving the preliminary plan of Village Edition petition number 2008-0717. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is located in the southwest corner of East 57th Street and South Sycamore Avenue. It's approximately 35 acres of land. The developer is Clint Ackerman with Signature Companies. This development includes residential as well as mixed-use development on the north side. and the street layout includes a combination of both public and private roadways. It does comply with our subdivision ordinance, and based on staff review, as well as the Planning Commission recommendation for approval, we are asking you to give this the thumbs up tonight.
Questions of Mike on item 18? Others that wish to address the council, please.
Yeah, Mike, are we going to have a neighborhood park?
This will have a private open space as part of the development area. There will not be a public neighborhood park within this particular development.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Others that wish to address the council on item 18? Not, is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Benninga moves, is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconds. Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve item 18, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Item 18 has been approved 8-0. Let's go to 19.
A resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Annexation 2008-05-14, 26th Street and South Dakota Highway 11, Hallstrom.
This property is approximately 7.4 acres of land located on the south side of East 26th Street and east of Highway 11, which will now become South Dakota 100. It's directly adjacent to the development called Copper Creek Addition, which is being developed by Van Buskert Companies. And this particular area is proposed to be developed into residential and incorporated into the Copper Creek Development Plan. We are working with the property owners to eventually consolidate their access onto 26th Street with the idea that eventually 26th Street will be widened and most likely have limited access on there. So this does fit into our future growth plans for this particular area, and we are recommending approval of this request for annexation.
Questions of Mike on item 19? Others who wish to address the council on item number 19? Is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval, Benninga.
Benninga moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Let's second. Further comments? Not all in favor, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 19 has been approved 8-0. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
Second, Anderson.
Anderson seconds. Further comments? All in favor of the motion to adjourn will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Benega.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Stand adjourned.